All right, guys. Super excited to introduce PestCube, what we've been working on for the last couple of months, and where we're headed. So, what I want to talk about today is a little bit of background on myself, why we decided to start to create PestCube, what problems we're trying to solve, and then what solutions we've come up with. So, yeah, a little bit of background on myself. I've been in the door-to-door industry for the last 4 years, mainly in pest control. So I've loved every last second of the good and the bad. Um, so what I've loved about the door-to-door industry is that we all have different roles to fill so that we can all be successful. From the top, from the executives to the regionals, to the managers, to the reps, to the technicians, the marketers. Everyone has their own position and what they're really good at, using their abilities to make good money and also help others out. So yeah, I got dragged in as a rep a couple of years ago, not knowing what was going on, and then after my first summer, made decent money and saw that this wasn't the Ponzi scheme that my parents were telling me it was. Um, Moved up to manager, started recruiting a little bit, um, and just loved it. And actually, last summer in 2020, that's where PestCube was born. The idea is because while I was out, I had questions like, why can't I know how much exactly I'm getting paid on my reps? Why can't I know how much exactly I'm getting paid each day? Why can't I know exactly where I place in competitions on any given day? Why can't I know exactly which incentives I'm supposed to earn on any given day, or which incentives I have earned? Why can't I have a high level of understanding of how much my guys are making, where they are in the competitions, which incentives they've won? I had all these questions come to me, and I'm like, has someone really not come up with these solutions? It was just mind-boggling. And then I started to think, okay, that's on the rep side. Those are kind of the issues that we're seeing on the rep side, but I can't even imagine what they were seeing on the management side. So I started thinking, holy, what tools are they using on the management side? How much time do they spend trying to figure out commissions? How much time do they spend importing the data from pest routes so they can determine who's the top reps in the competitions, then posting them on social media or on their website? That takes so much time. And when prize time comes, how much time and effort comes into determining which reps won which prizes and making sure that everyone's happy, because the reps know which prizes they won. So how does management track all of that? Is it just on Excel, or is it in their heads on a piece of paper? I just didn't know what was going on. Maybe there was a software that they were all using that would just have all the data there, being able to just show them it. And maybe I was wrong, and just the companies I was working with didn't use that software. That's what I was thinking. I was like, there has to be that software. They just don't want to use it or whatever. So I had that idea, and then after the summer, I was like, I probably got to do something about this. It's a hassle with all of those questions I was asking. So I started to look into it a little bit more. Luckily, before I started PestCube, my trajectory, I guess you could say, for my career was management consulting. Wanted to go to Bain or BCG. And so every Tuesday I would go to the management consulting um, classes, I guess you could say the club meetings. And oh my gosh, the biggest blessing of my life, because they taught us most nerdiest things you could ever think of, mainly frameworks. So the main framework that I like to work with is the profitability framework. Um, every management consultant, every Fortune 500 CEO uses these frameworks to determine how they can help their business. It's not just, hey, let's do this marketing, let's do this sales, let's hire this person. They determine what's going to increase their profit, and through that framework, they are able to make the business decisions. So I decided that I was gonna, I was like, oh, let's make a pest control profitability framework. And by the way, still using today to make our decisions on which features to launch, which features are going to actually help out different pest control companies. So yeah, that management consulting club was a big blessing, and was really helpful in helping create PestCube. Or else I would have just been like, oh, let's just create a cool software. Um, and that's the thing with software is, after I had all these questions, I could have been like, hey, let's just create a shiny object, present it in front of all the pest control owners, and hopefully they think it's awesome. No, that's not how it works. That's why a lot of software looks cool, but it doesn't really solve any problems. So I dug deeper into the framework, created it, adjusted it a couple times. You should see my whiteboard, all the pictures I have of my different frameworks, different ideas, to bring into the one that we're still using today. So I'm going to kind of go over that, because that is really what PestCube is today. You'll see, at the end, what problems we're solving and how that's increasing the profit for these pest control owners. And this has a lot to do with what makes the reps happy, because that's the end goal. If you want more sales, you got to make your reps happy, and we'll kind of get into why that's important. So of course, any business, they want profit, they want the money. That's why they, invest, bring in their own money, bring in their own time and effort, build up these teams. Because of course, yeah, they want to, have a hefty profit and be able to live a good life. If you don't think that, then you got to rethink things. So what it comes down to is how this profitability. So what it comes down to is how this profitability framework works, which, by the way, I'm not going to go over the whole thing. If you want me to go over the whole thing, you can message me on Facebook, Instagram, email me, ask me, or I can just send it over to you. We can discuss it, whatever you want. But I'm just going to go through the sales part of this framework, because that's what PestCube is today. So how it works is, the company wants profit. So what are the main drivers of profit? Yeah, you got revenue and costs. We're not going to think about costs right now. We're just going to mainly think of revenue. So what is the driver of revenue? It's either increasing sales or decreasing churn of your customers, which we're not going to talk about that for right now. We're just going to talk about increasing sales. And you can increase sales two ways. You can increase it through online sales or referrals, or door-to-door sales through your reps. Of course, we're going to go through the door-to-door route. We can talk about the online sales another time. So what are the main drivers of door-to-door sales? It's effective reps. Effective reps is everything. That's what's going to increase your door-to-door sales. So now we go down to the drivers of the effective reps. So how do you get effective reps? First of all, you need to increase your good reps, and you need to decrease the churn of your good reps. So now after that, the drivers underneath those drivers, these are the most important drivers in any framework, because everything in between profit and these bottom drivers are just, fluff. It's just, you can't really take any actionable steps to be able to increase or decrease or whatever you want to do to these in between drivers. It all determines on the bottom drivers. So these bottom drivers are what's going to determine, what products you need to make, what problems you have, and what solutions you can make with anything. So we get down to it, the drivers of good reps. So the drivers of good reps, what are those? And by the way, we're going to have 5 main drivers, and those are going to be the 5 issues that we're trying to solve in our 5 different solutions. And you'll see why. So how do we increase good reps? 2 ways. We need to increase our training, make it more effective, and increase recruiting. And then how do we decrease the churn of our good reps? This is probably the most important, because you've already spent so much time in, building up these reps, trying to do everything you can to make them stay with you. They're veterans, they're leaders, future leaders. So this is the driver that we're worried about, and it's how to decrease the churn of your effective reps, your good reps. So there's 3 ways we can do that. We can have transparency through real-time commissions, have effective competitions, and effective incentives. So those are the 3 ways that we can retain our reps and decrease our churn of our good reps. So now that we know those 5 drivers, it was just blast off from there. I had just a main focus. I knew exactly what issues I needed to solve, what solutions I needed to come up with, so that I could really help out the leaders of pest control and also the reps. That's my main goal, is how can I make the best experience, door-to-door pest control experience for the leaders and the reps. And it's just way easier to create solutions when you have that clarity. So with those 5 drivers, now that I had this framework in mind, it was way easier for me to start my research and data analysis. So after that, I surveyed 40 different door-to-door reps. Of course, some of them were my close friends. And it was just mind-boggling with the data that we got back from that and the insights that we got back. I mean, just for example, the main insight that we got was the number 1 reason why a rep leaves a company is because they felt like they got gypped on their back end. I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. These guys are going out, leaving their family, their friends, leaving a nice summer at the pool, leaving their wives, their babies, everything. And if they feel like they went and worked super hard and then back end time came and they didn't get the money that they were thinking, that's, of course I would leave too. So they said that's the number 1 reason why they have left previous companies. And if they would ever leave their current company they're with, that would be the number 1 reason. So anyways, that was just one example. We got a ton of other insights that were just mind-boggling and helped us understand that this actually was a real issue that we could try to solve. So these 5 issues led me to create PestCube, whose main purpose is to help sales leaders, executives, regionals, managers, and also reps enjoy the experience more, have better tools to track their efforts, and be able to save them time and be able to make more money. It's when you can do those things, they're going to have better experiences. The whole industry is going to grow. So on the next episode, we're going to go through those 5 features that we were describing, the issues, the solutions, the features. They're all kind of the same thing. And we're going to go through each of them individually so that we can better understand what PestCube is trying to solve and how it's going to better help out sales leaders, sales reps. And yeah, so thanks for listening. Hopefully we can see you next time. That's just a little intro on PestCube.